Ravi Batra is a senior attorney. He's an advocate. He's based in New York. Ravi Batra, good evening. He's joining us from our studios there. Ray Locker is National Security Editor of USA Today. Maruf Raza, Strategic Affairs Editor. Casey Singh, former diplomat, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. Gaurav Bhatia, lawyer, President of the Legal Wing of the SP and National Spokesperson of the party. Thank you very much. Let's debate this. First of all, I want to say it's very disturbing what has happened. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I genuinely believe that this incident needs to be looked at, and it cannot be that a week has passed and nothing has happened in this incident. Mr. Ravi Batra, how long will this kind of racism continue against Indians so brazenly? And I'm really surprised today at the levels of hypocrisy in American society and politics and in public life that a case like this has been covered up. I mean, if an American citizen were to be beaten up like this when he would be out on a walk in Delhi or Mumbai, all of America would be up in arms. This happens to an Indian citizen, an unarmed Indian citizen who is out for a walk and is a victim of racism. He lies paralyzed in a hospital. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, Mr. Batra, but if you have, then you would consider A, the greatest act of inhumanity has been done to him. But a greater act of inhumanity is being done by the cover-up that's going on in America. Why was this case covered up in this way, Mr. Batra?
Okay. One, let me first heartfelt condolences to the family and certainly to Sureshbhai because what occurred to him should never occur to him anywhere in the country, in any country, let alone the United States. Now, as to your issue about racism, I just want to remind you and your viewers that United States loves Indian Americans enough that President Obama appointed Richard Raul Verma as America's ambassador to India.
I don't think he's doing any favor. No, that's irrelevant.
No, hold on.
That's totally irrelevant.
Hold on.
That's totally irrelevant what you just said.
However,
to this development, it's irrelevant, Mr. Batra.
No, it is. No.
It's irrelevant.
It is relevant because.
Why don't we talk about what happened in Madison?
Okay. So what happened in Madison is in a local municipality, and if the lawyers for the family don't do the case properly, they will lose. If they do it properly, if they do the case properly, they can win. But they got to go to federal court.
It's not about winning or losing the case, Mr. Batra. I'll come to that. No, 1 second. 1 minute. Just a minute, Mr. Batra. It's not about losing or winning the case. And Gaurav Bhatia wants to come in from Delhi. But Gaurav, before I come in to, get you into the... It's not about winning or losing. I am asking you why this happens. An Indian man is out for a walk, unarmed. He's just walking on the road. Some crazy, paranoid American.
Should not happen.
1 minute, please. Some crazy, paranoid, probably racist American picks up the phone and says, "Brown man spotted. Mr. Policeman, please act." And immediately, Mr. White Policeman lands up out there and says, "Mr. Brown man, what are you doing here?" And the brown man says, let me complete. The brown man says, "I don't speak English." Then they say, "Put your hands up in the air." Right? They say, we do a pat down. They push the man down so hard. They thrash him so hard without any evidence of any guilt. I mean, this does not happen even, I would say even the most barbaric country, this kind of open racism would not happen. And the man now lies there. Tell me I haven't heard of an incident when a white man would be treated like that. You want to come to our country, you want to do our business with us, you want to patronize us, and Obama has the gall to say that Gandhiji would be shocked at intolerance in India. Why does Obama not talk about this? One incident, Gaurav Bhatia wants to take you on, sir. He's also a lawyer from New Delhi. To Ravi Batra in New York. Go ahead, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Now, I think whatever has happened has put the entire country to shame. And I heard the panelists say that, the relatives of the victim should fight the case properly. I would say, sir, it's not a question of fighting the case. What action has been taken against the police officer? He should have been suspended forthwith. And he has not been suspended so far. And US calls itself a land of liberty. And here we see that kind of racism taking place against an Indian who has been paralyzed and he's hospitalized for no fault of his. I think the United States of America as a nation should rise to the occasion and should suspend the officer immediately and should take some drastic steps so that such an incident doesn't happen.
They say, they say, by the way, yes. Gaurav, let me tell you how racist this incident has been. The paranoid, racist American, yes. whoever called the policeman, because I think today America has become such a barbaric country that if you see a brown man on the streets, the white man, I'm sorry, Mr. Batra, that's how I feel. You see a brown man on the streets, you call the local
but you got to give me a chance to respond.
No, but
you got to give me a chance to respond.
Okay, I'll give you a chance to respond. I will give you a chance to respond, sir, but you tell me today, sir, if an American citizen was...
That the first thing that the administration should have done was to suspend the police officer?
No, they haven't named the police officer. They are protecting the police officer. They are protecting the police officer.
Can I respond? Against him because this is a blatant case of negligence.
I want our government to demand from these Americans that we... One second, Mr. Batra.
Absolutely.
The Madison Police, our government, the Narendra Modi government, must demand from the Americans that the Madison Police has been sitting with the footage, audio and video of the incident since Friday. I want the footage. And if America will not give me justice, we'll go and take it to the highest courts. I want the footage. I want the names of the officers. We want. The footage of the incident is available. Mr. Batra, you are a lawyer. You tell me, why is the Madison Police not coming out and naming the attackers of Mr. Patel?
Hey, let him talk.
If you don't know how to fight, you don't get justice, okay? You cannot
don't know how to fight?
You cannot go to court. No, listen to me. Arnav, 1 second.
Mr. Batra,
hold on.
This is not about fighting
you gotta give me
in the court.
Of course
what
it is.
action has the police taken against this erring police officer?
One second.
There is a case against the police officer. He is used excessive force.
Your statements are inflammatory but not helpful.
What's inflammatory?
Now, here's what the problem is. Your statements are inflammatory and not helpful. The Indian American community has to get up, get matured, and stop taking pictures with politicians, and instead...
No, I'm sorry. Objectionable that
okay?
you're saying.
Go to them
what do you
and say, excuse me,
the Indian community
why,
should be mature?
how did you do this?
I think we have been mature enough to demand that the police officer should be suspended. There is no community more tolerant than the Indian community.
Sir, you tell me this. You tell me this. You put this question.
That they should mature itself is very objectionable.
Sir, here's one point. You're a lawyer. Now, 1 second. Let's get Ray Locker also into this. Ray Locker also come in. 1 minute. It's been 6 days. Ray, 1 second. Let's get the facts right. It's been 6 days.
You called me. Okay. I didn't get a call from Alabama saying help us. I would help them. But they got a call. If you don't call, you get nobody.
Batra,
okay? There was an old movie called, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters?
Mr. Batra, let's examine the facts
Arnav,
now.
You're smarter than the people over here.
No, let's examine the facts one by one. Let's examine them very, very logically. My question to Ray Locker, because he was getting very angry he said, I let the man speak. He was angry that I was not allowing you, Mr. Batra, a chance to speak. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Locker, you know the facts of the case.
I'm in your debt.
No, please. 1 second. Maruf and Casey Singh, it's been 6 days. The Madison police have the footage of this incident on them. Why are they not coming clean on whether or not Mr. Patel was treading on private property before an altercation with the cops? He was on a walk.
I can help. Listen, I can help. Okay?
No, what was his crime?
I can resolve this.
No, there's nothing to be resolved. The man is lying paralyzed in a hospital. What's there to be resolved?
No. What's to be resolved? We want the police officer and the police department that made the police officer that made the terrible mistake of paralyzing an innocent man.
Mistake?
That person's got to be held responsible.
Your police are known racist.
No, hold on.
Your security forces, especially the whites among them, are completely racist. It is a known fact.
Listen.
Sir, the white policeman in America.
Hold on a second.
Everyone in the world knows, sir, what the picture of the white American policeman is. We don't forget the chokehold of Eric Garner in New York. We don't forget the shooting of 12-year-old Tammy Rice in Cleveland. We don't forget what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, with the fatal shooting of Michael Brown. And we know all these incidents. Each and every one of these incidents, sir, with respect, Mr. Locker, was a white policeman in action.
No, that doesn't define us.
No, but the white policeman defines you, unfortunately, today, unless you put him behind bars.
That's what defines
Arnab,
why are you protecting that white policeman?
Arnab, I disagree.
So why do you protect the white policeman?
Arnab, what would define America is how they act against this herring officer. That would define the spirit of America. If they don't act, then their democracy and the liberty that they talk about is all shallow and is in words. And therefore they should act.
Listen.
It is important that if such an incident has happened, in fact, rather than sending the police officer on a leave, he should have been suspended. This is a criminal act that he is committed. It is sheer negligence.
I would like the local district attorney to investigate by a grand jury the police officer for criminal charges. Okay?
So the police is protecting him. So the police is protecting him.
Against him. Why can't you suspend?
Can you not take
departmental action?
Okay, 1 second, Gaurav Bhatia, bring in Ray Locker, please, and Maruf Raza now into the debate as well, along with KC Singh. KC Singh, yes, Ray, what do you have to say?
What's going to happen here is this is going to go through a process. It's obviously not fast enough to satisfy the people who are legitimately upset by what happened.
What process?
The officer has been suspended.
What process?
This video is going to come out.
The video has not been brought out.
Be criminal charges.
No, but
no, it has not yet, but it will be.
Why is it not out yet?
Just hold on.
Why is it not out yet?
It's
what are they
don't
hiding?
Want to put it out, but the
what are they hiding?
Going to force it
because
out.
they don't not.
I think they're probably hiding what happened to poor Mr. Patel.
Why are they hiding it? Then what action? No, 1 second. Ray, counter question to you, Mr. Lokar, is if they're hiding what happened to poor Mr. Patel, and by the way, let me tell you this. I feel sorry for the Americans who did it. They're the ones who are poor, really. And I'm telling you this, Ray Locker, the fact is we all know in India the kind of racial profiling that has been going on in the United States of America. Now, Mr. Locker, if Americans are paranoid, it's their problem. But Indians will not be the subject of American paranoia. My question to you, sir, Mr. Locker, is what was his crime? What was his crime apart from not speaking English and having brown skin?
There was no crime.
So any man, so 1 second, Mr. Locker, 1 second. No, Mr. Locker, I have brown skin. Mr. Locker, I have brown skin. I go to America, I go on the footwalk somewhere, right? And I am held by a policeman and I just look around, I happen to be looking around and some paranoid American picks up the phone and says, brown man seen walking around early in the morning, catch him. And then the policeman land up there, and if I'm not able to communicate back to the policeman in English, then the policeman will treat me exactly in the same way that they treated Mr. Patel. What image does that leave you of America today?
Oh, it's a terrible image, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all. I think that's exactly what happened, is somebody who looked different from other people in the community aroused suspicions by somebody who was paranoid and called the police, and then went terribly wrong.
No, but after that hiding, after that hiding, and worse than that, Ray, and I'd like to get Maruf in, because it's not just a legal perspective we want of this. After that, and Maruf, the fact is that as far as the Americans is concerned, we do business with you, we want to be strategic, but you want to be strategic partners with us, and after that you treat our citizens in this way. Maruf, I'd like to bring to your attention one fact which was said by the police chief. His name is Larry Muncie of the Madison Police Department, and I want to put the pictures here as I speak to Maruf on this. He says, taking immediate action would be reckless. He says, taking immediate action, Maruf, he says, would be reckless. Was it not reckless, Maruf, for the police to use force to the extent of paralyzing a man? Was it not reckless, Maruf, for the police to use force without evidence of the subject not being armed? Was it not reckless, Maruf, that just because there was a communication barrier, the man could not speak English, he lies today in a paralyzed state?
You should be a lawyer, Arnab. You should be a lawyer.
I am not want to be a lawyer. I want.
But you should be.
No, Mr. Batra. No, Mr. Batra. I think what has happened is very unfair, and I feel very strongly about it. Maruf.
But listen.
Maruf wants to say something to you, Mr. Batra.
Mr. Batra, please let me make 4 or 5 quick points. The first is that it's a well-known fact that your policemen, especially in the cities of the United States, they can be very aggressive very quickly. I think they need to learn a lesson or two in the decency with which police operate from your cousins across the Atlantic, from the British police. The second point which I want to bring out is that America is a very insular society. In America, there is very little understanding, despite the fact that there is a vast population of people in America, hundreds of people, tens of millions of people who do not speak English, Latino speaking, Spanish speaking, all sorts of people who are there in America. And in this constituency, I believe 1 on 10 people who reside there are of foreign origin. And there are a number of people who do not speak fluent English in America, but I'm sure if they are white, they do not get this kind of treatment that this Indian citizen unfortunately was a part of. The third point I want to make is that American troops have had a problem in Afghanistan and Iraq more recently because of their sheer arrogance with which they dealt with the local population. They were not able to understand local sensitivities, and that's why you ran into deep sand in both these countries, because you were unable to react to the situation based on the sensitivities of the local population. And finally, Mr. Batra, you are saying they should have called you and sought your assistance. Now, may I ask you, are you willing to offer them services for free, or like every other American lawyer wishing to charge them an arm and a leg? People may not be able to afford your fees. Please understand, in situations like this, American lawyers are not necessarily what a family would be thinking of. They would be thinking of seeking assistance from the normal recourse of law. And the law, unfortunately, is not supporting them.
But Maruf,
I'm sorry to say that, but America has to do some inward looking. America is not looking inside and pontificating to the world.
May I respond?
No, absolutely. And more than that, Maruf, if I may add, it's not just about legal services. I want Mr. Batra and Mr. Ray Locker to accept on the Newshour tonight the level of racism which has gone unchecked. And especially, Mr. Batra, you may be a very prosperous and successful Indian lawyer, but let me tell you, there are many Indians out there who face this racism on a daily basis. We contribute to the American economy. We provide Americans jobs. We open up our market. We are your biggest defense importers. You make money from us. And then after this, and 1 second, when Obama came here, we gave more than his share of respect. He went back and preached about intolerance. My question is, sir, the story of Sureshbhai Mehta.
This information doesn't trickle down to the Americans. Americans are not conscious of what's happening in the world. They're very preoccupied with life on their high street. America has to look globally and become a global player and understand global sentiments. They cannot be centered around what is it to be an American, how to react to American things. America's police is traditionally known to be extremely high-handed, and this doesn't come as any surprise to me.
Absolutely. Yes, Ravi. Yes, Ravi Batra, you want to respond, please do. But please come to the moot issue of racism.
I accept the invitation not to charge the family a dime for helping them get full measure of justice, getting the police officer held responsible, having a criminal investigation started, and maybe even the police chief fired, okay? But you don't mind if I hold the government responsible for the services as added punishment. That's one. Second, the geopolitics attack on the United States ought not interfere with this conversation because it's really off base. United States...
No, sir, America has gone paranoid. Everyone knows that.
One second.
America has gone paranoid. America has gone paranoid. The whole world knows America has gone paranoid, sir. One second. It's only in a paranoid country, Mr. Batra. 1 second. Just
you
small
can't
count.
do that, Arnab. You can't do that.
Small counter, Mr. Batra.
So second.
Okay.
Police officers and our firefighters were the ones who gave up their lives on 9/11.
Sir, I don't want
One second. One second. So they define our public safety every day. They take bullets.
So you can let them do whatever racism they want to do.
One second. Lieutenant Brian Murphy in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, took 9 bullets to protect the Gurdwara.
I'm talking about Sureshbhai Patel.
I don't want to hear this
typical American
police
story
being racist across the board.
I don't want to hear this typical American
can be
story.
racist.
I'm not interested. Sir, 1 second.
I don't buy this.
Sir, let me tell you. Now, let me tell you this.
You cannot accuse a country.
No, sir, I accuse you. I accuse you tonight.
I have a few questions
I accuse you, your country, of allowing racism to go on unchecked. I do accuse your country of allowing racism to go unchecked. And by the way, if you feel, sir, that your officers have done a great job in defending your country, then by that same logic, will you allow American citizens to be beaten up and paralyzed on Indian streets by Indian policemen? We turn around to you when that happens and then say, by the way, these policemen defend my country. So what if there's a little bit of racism and human rights abuse?
I'm prepared to. I'm prepared to help Sureshbhai.
No, sir, it's not an isolated case.
That doesn't give you license.
I'd like to get Casey Singh on the debate, please.
This is silliness.
So it's not silly, sir. Your officers, your policemen, and I'm actually saying tonight, I am surprised that the entire Indian media should pick up this case tonight. And your officers have used...
Casey is a voice of wisdom.
So
I welcome Casey's voice of wisdom.
So 1 second. So Casey will certainly come in if you feel that he's going to be on your side. I'm absolutely certain that...
No, it's not about my side. No, it's about just being balanced.
So, of course...
You cannot become a lynch mob.
So Mr.
This show cannot become a lynch mob.
Mr. Batra, I'm not the lynch mob, your policemen are. Mr. Batra, let me tell you, don't say we're the lynch mob. You know who's the lynch mob? You know who's the lynch mob? The lynch mob are the people who did what they did in Chapel Hill. You want to know who the lynch mob is?
I agree.
The lynch mob are those who are responsible for the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson. You know who the lynch mob is? The lynch mob are those who were responsible on the 8th December 2014 incident of the chokehold of Eric Garner in New York. The lynch mob, Mr. Lynch, don't call us the lynch mob. So we are an independent
press. Let's not combine this stuff.
No, sir. You know the lynch mob is. The lynch mob are those people.
Don't combine this stuff.
The lynch mob are those people who shot at a 12-year-old boy put bullets in his stomach. So when he reached the hospital, he died. That's the lynch mob. And you don't want to act against that lynch mob.
I reject this America bashing.
This is not America bashing. This is racism in your country. If it embarrasses you, not my problem.
All right, so like every other country, we have mistakes.
It's not a mistake. Why are you covering up after that?
Mr. Batra.
Casey, I want to get Casey.
Can I just come in?
Okay, quick point from Gaurav Bhatia and then Casey Singh. Yeah. Yes, Gaurav, quickly, please.
Yeah. Mr. Batra, you said that the relatives of the victim should wait for some time. There is a Latin maxim, justice delayed is justice denied. And I think it equally applies in the United States of America. I think
I did not say that.
Interim measure has to be taken by the police administration. The police officer should be suspended and other things can follow.
Okay, phone lines are opening up in 2 minutes.
Let me tell you about the Indian criminal justice system. At least the judiciary here is alive, that they take suo cognizance of such incidents and then they ensure that action is taken against officers. So today, if you claim that America is a vibrant democracy, around 1.2 billion Indians are looking at Obama to open his mouth tonight. Whether they will do justice to the Indian or not.
And so is India. And so is India a vibrant democracy.
And I want Obama to open his mouth tonight. Obama talked a lot when he was having that breakfast meeting. I want to hear it from Mr. Barack Obama tonight. I want to hear it from Barack Obama tonight. Let this go out to all the American media.
It is not a presidential issue. It's a local municipality issue.
I think the American media is nothing but cowardly if it does not have the courage to talk about this incident. The American media, the American networks, the American media needs to put this all out and make it the biggest story in America so that the people of America know what happened.
Into outer space, Arnab, you've gone into outer space.
Sir, Mr. Patel, 1 second, let me tell you.
The American media is all over this.
Mr. Batra,
this is being amply reported.
Mr. Batra, Ray Locker, let me tell you. My question is, what is the need to keep all the evidence of the case hidden up under wraps to a degree that even the family of the injured victim does not know? No, the family of the injured victim does not know. The family of the injured victim does not know how their family member landed up in a hospital bed and how he ended up paralyzed.
I agree.
I just don't understand.
They're going to know.
Casey Singh, please. Sorry to keep you waiting, Casey, for a long time.
But you have to know what to do. But get Casey. I want to hear Casey.
That's all right. Casey will come in on his own. Yes, Casey Singh, please go ahead.
Thank you, Arnab. Look, let's remember, I don't see why Mr. Batra is being so sensitive. It's generally acknowledged that American police has been profiling racially, though the ones at the receiving end have largely been African Americans for the last multiple decades, not today. The Rodney King affair, 91, LA burned for a number of days. Again in Ferguson last year, we found the community take to the streets. Now, that itself is a symptom that over 40 years, the community starts burning up the city, only then the police takes action.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The police covers up and protects their own, and they only start acting. And in LA also, there was a commission, and the reform did not set in till about 10 years later, and they are still not fully reformed. New York has had a reform, but it's not a fully mature reform. And post 9/11, what has happened is the American police has got more militarized. There are more SWAT teams. They hit you on the head first at the slightest suspicion and ask questions later.
Exactly.
They've got this doctrine of stop and search.
Absolutely.
They can stop anybody and start searching him. So the fact remains, I think America needs to look inwards, that they become paranoid after the attack, after 9/11.
Exactly, Casey.
And they have to start really understanding that civil liberties have to be spread across the board. You can't do
well
racial
said, Casey.
profiling.
Well
you
said.
can't just pick up someone because he looks different.
Yeah.
And let me make the second point, that we don't need, we are not begging for help. This is an Indian citizen.
Yes.
So the government of India should bring all their might behind this citizen today.
They should.
And we shouldn't just simply say an official is going there and he'll find out what he needs. Why, it's not a question of finding out what he needs.
I agree
We
with
need
you,
to
Casey.
really get active with the U.S. Embassy here.
Nobody
Tell the US
disagrees with
government
that.
To
I
please
agree
use
with
their
you,
federal, use their federal authority. Use their federal authority. Here is an Indian citizen, and we will do all we can to not only protect him, bring him back, but also to restore his honor and also to restore the dignity of Indians in that country.
Absolutely. And you know what,
One
Casey?
second.
Casey, I'll tell you,
second.
Casey, one second. Just a minute before you come in. Ravi, by the way, that was the voice of wisdom. That wasn't me.
Sure.
That was your voice of wisdom, Casey Singh, speaking tonight. I think he spoke the same language as I did.
So I want to join Casey in some things and have a nuance separation.
No. There's no nuance in this.
Okay,
One second. Ravi Batra.
No, hold on.
Ravi Batra, hold on, Ravi Batra. I want to today question whether in America, where there was the headline non-stop for days on end, what happened after the Ferguson incident. I want to know how much time the American media and all of America is doing talking about what happened to Sureshbhai Patel. Now, my question is this: the Madison Police
Zero, right?
Zero.
Or almost nothing.
No, 1 second. So,
but that is the fault not of American journalism. That's the fault of Indian Americans who haven't grown up yet.
No, that's really
they're still babies.
Hold on, guys.
Wait, 1 second. How is it? 1 second.
I think this is hilarious.
Listen.
No, 1 second. Casey's responding to you. Casey's responding to you. Ravi Batra, Casey's responding to you. Casey.
Media to highlight such cases. Infringement of fundamental rights of a person.
May I?
The media is not doing its job.
Which means they will not act.
We have separation of powers.
They will only act.
1 second. We have separation of powers. When something wrong happens, it becomes part of the third branch, which means the law. And you know what? If you don't know what you're doing in American law, like every other court, you lose. Okay? We won for Kritika Biswas. We had the criminal charges dropped. We had the charges dismissed. We sued in federal court.
Sir,
we won. Okay? It's not so easy to win. We won. We won in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. You gotta know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing,
Mr. Batra, this case is worse than any other that I've heard of.
Even in India,
I agree. But you know what? If you want to go in a racetrack, don't come with riding a horse. You want to be in a Ferrari, okay?
1 second, Mr. Batra, let's not trivialize this incident.
This is
1 second, Mr. Batra. Mr. Batra, let's not trivialize this incident. No, it's a very serious incident.
1 second.
And 1 second, Mr. Batra. You've spoken more than anyone else on the panel so far. I'm going to come back to you, but the question is this: how does a family of Mr. Sureshbhai Patel not have the right to know how their father landed up in a half paralyzed state just days into coming into America?
They do have that right.
1 minute. Sir, you're a civilized democracy. Is it common practice in America to deny the family of the victim evidence of the crimes committed against them? And there is an allegation that someone didn't recognize a passerby and called the cops who took the law into their own hands because the suspect did not speak in English. How does an Indian...
No, 1 second. 1 second, Arnab. the law is like a recipe. How many people do you know can make a good dish out of a recipe?
Sir, we're talking about a man's life.
Follow the recipe.
We're talking about a man's life.
I know, but the law is what gives you the rights.
So we have the lawyer Hank Sherrod joining us.
You lose your rights.
Hank Sherrod. So 1 second. I have the lawyer for Chirag Patel now with me. And Chirag Patel is the son of Sureshbhai Patel. 1 second, this is interesting. Hank Sherrod, can you hear me? I just lost the line there with him. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and get that Skype that Skype back. I'm going to start opening up the phone lines. Maruf, are you satisfied with the version being given here right now from our guest from America? Yes, Maruf.
Not at all. Not at all. I think Mr. Batra is looking at it with colored glasses because he comes from the legal fraternity. Everything revolves around whether it's legally plausible or not. But please understand, Mr. Batra, there is a human element to it. There is a diplomatic element to it. There is also the element about how a normal citizen who does not understand the legalities as well as you do can expect what is freedom. You guys thump your chest about freedom. Freedom is about the ability to walk in the street without being harassed. And if you can't guarantee that to a person who's passed through all the visa and entry requirements, then there is need for you to hang your head in shame. And don't lecture us about law. We also have laws. You might have become a naturalized American citizen. But Mr. Batra, go back to your roots. Your roots are also very similar to this family which is suffering today.
Absolutely,
so don't pontificate when you cannot understand that a man may have, and he's not the only person who has a communication problem.
Absolutely.
Mr. Casey Singh rightly brought it out that your police is amongst the most violent in any developed country. You need to learn lessons.
Arnab,
you need to learn lessons. Your police needs to learn lessons. Not everybody who walks the street is carrying a weapon in his hand. Not everybody who walks the street is a potential terrorist because he doesn't look white Anglo-Saxon.
I want to have the faces of those. I want to know. I want to name. I want the names. I want the names. I believe tonight. I believe in name and shame. And Mr. Batra, I believe, and Ray Locker, I believe that I, as an Indian citizen, have the right to know the names of the racist American policemen who did this to a fellow Indian. Don't I, Mr. Baloka? Okay. Why are the names of the policemen not being given out?
I agree with you.
Arnab, I don't know the name, but you're going to find out soon enough.
No, why are the names not being given
public?
out?
Arnab?
But why have the names not been given out? Why have the names not been given out?
Arnab?
Obama talks about the American dream. He goes mute when his racist officers beat the father of an American citizen who embodies that dream. I am asking you, why have the names?
Arnab?
Why have the names of those racist policemen not been given out, Mr. Loka?
Sureshbhai Patel.
Arnab, I don't think we know the answer why.
Why?
I think I know don't want to give them out.
You tell me, what do you think?
Sureshbhai
What do you think, Ray?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you, why do you think the names are not being given out?
I think they're not ready to give out the name because they haven't gotten their story straight. And once they get their story straight, then they'll give out the name.
So they're fixing
but they're obviously hiding something or trying to cover things up.
Okay.
I think your suspicion is completely legitimate. What happened to Mr. Patel is horrific. They don't know what to do about it, and they're in a panicking situation. What's going to happen eventually is there's going to be a criminal investigation, possibly criminal charges, a civil suit that will end up giving a large settlement to Mr. Patel and his family. The Justice Department may investigate. The lawyers will keep pressure on this. The media, including the United States media, will continue to keep pressure on this because that's happening now. I learned about this story yesterday through the Alabama media, not through the Indian media. So people are covering this. There are people who have a vested interest in bringing justice.
Why? Why are they covering it? And how big a story is this all over America, sir?
It's a pretty big story. Certainly in Alabama it is. I mean, a lot of people are horrified by this. I mean, people know that there's a problem with law enforcement in some places. Not every police officer who has a very dangerous job has gotten the message about ethnic diversity in this country. Not every person in America has gotten the message about the need for ethnic diversity all over the country. They see somebody with brown skin and they freak out.
So
and that's what happened with poor Mr. Patel.
What do you mean they see somebody with brown skin and they freak out? I mean, I just don't understand. You have to be completely freaked out about somebody having brown skin and freaking out over that. I just don't understand this. I'd like to go to Hank Sherrod. No, this just shows what's Hank Sherrod. Hank, can you hear me now?
This itself shows the racism that exists there.
Let's see if Mr. Sherrod can hear me.
Prove what we have been discussing.
1 second. Hank Sherrod is the lawyer.
Gaurav Bhatia. People, and there is racism that exists.
Okay, 1 second. Hank Sherrod.
Mr. Loker just admitted that there is racism there.
Can I just make one point?
Just a point. Let me try once more with the lawyer for Mr. Patel.
Are they not violating the liberty of the individual?
Of course there are.
Mr. Loker, what is expected out of your administration is that you would hand over the evidence to the family members, you would suspend the officer, and you would empathize with the victim rather than shielding him.
Hank Sherrod, can you hear me?
Well, first of all,
Hank Sherrod,
the officer has been suspended.
1 second. Hank Sherrod, can you hear me, Hank? Mr. Sherrod, can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming in and out.
Okay, great. So let me just ask you, tell us what Mr. Patel went through and what is the battle that you're fighting? What's the battle that you're fighting, Mr. Sherrod, in this case?
You know, the first battle in all of these cases is the lies that police officers usually tell to cover up things they've done. So that's why we're just trying to get the truth out, get the video, get the audio, get the reports, get the call from, if there was really a call from somebody in the neighborhood. So it's first a fight for the truth, and then a fight for some measure of justice for Mr. Patel.
Mr. Sherrod, what was Sureshbhai Patel's fault?
Nothing was his fault, and that's what's so sad about the approach taken in this case by the city of Madison, Alabama. You know, the first thing they do is they try to protect the police. They try to protect the police by, putting out a slanted or sometimes an untrue version of what happened.
So what did they put out in this case? They're interesting. Can I just have the pictures of Mr. Patel also? My question to you here is, what is the slanted version they put out in this case, Mr. Sherrod? What did they put out?
They put out that Mr. Patel was supposedly looking in garages on the street.
Looking in garages?
Looking in garages. That's what they, the Madison Police Department did a press release on Monday, before the family, we had made any media appearances, and said that they got a call and that Mr. Patel somehow resisted a search. And none of that is true. And all that, and even if there's some little part of some of that that's true, it is not what fundamentally happened here. What happened here was two bullies did something wrong. And you can't change that by, putting out the false information like I believe the city has. They have the video. They have the audio. If this was all Mr. Patel's fault, I think they would have shared it with us.
They refused to share it with you, so they're hiding something here. You said in one of your statements that the only fault of Mr. Patel was that he had brown skin.
Brown skin and couldn't speak English, but nobody would have thought he was a threat. Nobody would have thought that this mild, small man needed to be manhandled and slammed to the ground. And it's just wrong that we're even having to have this discussion this week. What a police department ought to do in this situation is just, admit that something wrong happened, and say what they're going to do about it. But this is a dance I've seen done so many times. The first reaction by the police department is to shade or slant or sometimes blatantly.
Hank?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to help you get a full measure of justice for Sureshbhai Patel, who, by the way, India should acknowledge with great honors because he used the term Indian almost as a certificate of being a peace-loving human being, which answers the prior point being made.
Sir, but the whole state
on a human level.
No, 1 second. Now let's open this up to calls, gentlemen. All across the entire country, people are calling in tonight. They are so angry about the case of Sureshbhai Patel. And I think tonight, wherever you're watching, this case of Sureshbhai Patel should be made an example. The country, the government of India, and all of us should fight so hard to prove that there has been racism in this case. Our government also needs to step forward and fight, because from what it appears today, this is a clear and open case of racism. Racism, racism, and nothing but racism. Next time Obama opens his mouth and talks about tolerance, let him first talk about the lack of tolerance in Madison, Alabama. 1 second. I have Abhinav, who's a student calling in from Delhi today. Abhinav, yes, from Delhi. Abhinav is calling in today. Go ahead, Abhinav.
Hello to all the panelists. I'd just like to make a quick comment, and then I will just ask a quick question. The comment is actually Mr. Batra. I was listening to what he was saying, and he seems to make it about the court case and the law. It is not. We are talking about a larger issue here. We are talking about a sentiment. We're talking about an underlying sentiment which has actually spread itself in the American society about immigrants and the intolerance towards them. So I was at the speech at the Report Auditorium when Mr. Obama pointed out that himself, his wife included, had to face racism back in the days. And Mr. Obama saying it very categorically that we should practice religious tolerance. I agree. But this does not transcend to religious tolerance. This is about Mr. Obama first sorting his house and then
absolutely,
telling
Abhinav.
Other people.
Abhinav, good point. Good point. I'm going to have to take a few more callers, Abhinav. So I'll have to thank you at this point, Abhinav, for calling. I've got so many callers. I want to do justice to as many as possible. And to our guests this evening from Madison and from New York and Washington, I would like you to take these voices of Indians and go and fight this, because this is not a fight just for one Indian citizen. This is a fight for justice. Our next caller is Rohit. Rohit Kachru. He's calling in from Pune. Yes, Rohit.
Good evening, Arnav.
Good evening, Rohit. What would you like to say?
Arnav, I would just like to make a quick comment to 2-3 lines. See, I want to say irony just died 1,000 deaths the day when a highly intolerant culture of America and its president preached India about religious tolerance. We spread a red carpet for him, and see, look what we got in return. Arnav, quite humorously, I would like to point out, it's like Pakistan saying we are worried about terror activities and terrorism in other countries, and look at what is happening in their backyard.
I take your point.
And also, Arnav, finally, I would just like to quote Gandhiji for Mr. Obama, who he idolizes so much. Gandhiji said, "Be the change you want to see."
Yeah.
And also on a lighter note, I want to ask Mr. President Obama and everyone in the panel, wouldn't Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, and Gandhiji be shocked to see the
absolutely
level of
they would
and hypocrisy in USA?
They would. But Rohit, actually the best thing is this story is now coming out of Alabama. It should go across the American media.
Could I ask Rohit the question?
Yes, go ahead, Rohit.
Could I ask Rohit the question?
Okay, Rohit.
Rohit, India is a wonderful civilization, a grand old civilization that's brought peace and all sorts of wisdom and science to the world. But does one rape here or one rape there or another rape there or an Uber rape, does that make India a rapist? It does not. It does not.
Terrible.
So
no, one second, Mr. Batra.
But I am saying
1 second.
You must not,
Mr.
America
one second.
bash.
I think Casey wants to respond to you.
That's all I'm saying.
Casey wants to respond to you. Casey.
That is not
America.
Casey is responding to you.
That is not by an instrument of the state. The rape is between two individuals. It's not an instrumentality of the state.
Agreed.
Here,
agreed.
Police is
and Casey,
police is a state
you are the
organization.
you are the voice of
the
wisdom.
Violence is committed
so
by
this
a
police
state
officer. No, I agree. That's why it's civil rights violation. I agree with you, Casey. But it's one police officer that has caused an incident, and he should be. And we need to do it.
No, Mr. Batra, just to add. Look at the irony of it. Martin Luther King had the famous Alabama March when he was beaten up in 1965. So it's a state where Martin Luther King's beating up is associated with Alabama.
And we just had the movie Selma. And this is where
it has happened. The fatal mistake that Americans are doing in this case is the American state and the American police in this case is grouping together to defend the racists. That's worse. Second is they hope that by keeping the evidence away and out of reach of the family and the media, they'll be able to cover up for it. So Maruf, the real story here is that not only has an incident of racism happened, but the incident of racism is being covered up layer by layer by layer by layer. And I don't think till now anyone in Washington has picked up this story. Now put the pictures of Mr. Batra.
Absolutely.
Yes, Maruf.
I think it's
Mr. Patel.
It's come out more than once. Arnab, it's come out more than once in our interjections. I brought that out to Mr. Batra, and one of the callers also brought that out, that it's beyond just a legal issue. You can't narrow it all down to a very clinical approach that, you know, if the law is in the favor of the person, then he'll get compensated. But imagine the horrifying psychological trauma that the individual would have gone through.
No, but
it's going to be a scar with him for the rest of his life, compensation or no compensation.
And why is Obama quiet on this?
Most importantly, that there is a need for America, which has a very large educated population, to become sensitized to the fact that there are people from outside the world that America should welcome for them to visit America. America goes and purchases itself everywhere, including Obama's big pitch in India was open your doors for business here. Now, is this the kind of America that we are wanting to interact with, that they cannot welcome an ordinary citizen taking a walk on the streets? I mean, there has to be some soul searching there. And people, instead of just lecturing us that the legal factors need to be brought into play, there is an emotional element. There is a sensitivity.
I agree.
Gandhiji was once asked, what do you think of Western civilization? And Gandhiji said, I think it will be a good idea. I think America needs to take heed of those words, that they still, the policemen at least need to become more civilized.
Well, the question goes out, why is Barack Obama quiet on this incident? Injustice, one second.
Alabama,
sir, 1 second, I'll tell you injustice. Injustice will be fought.
If I was the mayor of Madison, I would take some action.
Sir, injustice will be fought. Injustice is any individual, irrespective of the color of the skin, being treated as guilty without a trial. Injustice is no progression in the case after 6 days. Injustice is the family of the victim, and just imagine, put yourself in the shoes of that lady, his wife, crying out there, her hands folded, hoping that her husband passes this trauma out there. Injustice, Mr. Batra, and to all Americans tonight, I'd say, is the family of a victim not knowing who has potentially left their father handicapped for the rest of his life. Injustice is being treated as guilty because you don't speak English in a foreign country. And injustice will be if the government of India does not fight front-footed for justice for Sureshbhai Patel. I thank you all for joining me on this debate. And to Hank, I want to say, Mr. Sherrod, Mr. Sherrod, Mr. Sherrod, I'd say, Mr. Sherrod, I'd say,
one comment if I can make, Arnab.
I just want to thank, Mr. 1 second, before you come in, Gaurav.
Insensitive, and this is, this is a time for introspection for the American government also. And please be sensitive to the suffering of the Indian family and every Indian who's looking up to your administration tonight.
Well, and Hank, Sherrod, in whichever way, I want you to, first of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for fighting for Sureshbhai Patel. You should know today there are 1.2 billion Indians rooting for you and your fight out there. And the second point, and the second point tonight is Mr. Ravi Batra, Mr. Ray Locker, you all influential Americans, go make the calls. Help Sureshbhai Patel get justice.
I've offered Hank to help him.
Well,
I've offered the family to help.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this debate on the Newshour tonight.